Hello, I am here. I'm going to go ahead and wait for a moment for some people to join in. If you want to say hi, say hi. Don't mind me. I'm just going to apply some lip gloss while I'm getting ready to go. Hey, KD. I said I'd start at 10 a.m., so I'm going to get moving at 10. But until then, you guys can watch me apply some lip gloss. Hi, Lawrence. There we go. There we go. Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody. If you can hear me, good morning, Marianne. If you can hear me, please tell me that you can hear the sign. A sound, not sign. Can you hear the sign? Can anyone hear the sound on the video? Hi, Terry. Oh, good. Hi, Judy. Sounds like you guys can hear me. Lovely. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Jeffrey. Hi, Stacy. Very good. Hello, Karen. Hi, Anita. Like I was just saying, I said I was going to start this thing at 10 a.m. So 10 a.m. Eastern time, which is in about 2 minutes. So I'm just going to wait for a few more people to jump on, and then I'm going to get right into today's topic, which is how to manifest. So if you got some questions, get them ready. Oh, and quick note. I did have a couple people volunteer to be moderators for today's session, and I wanted to say thank you to them. Thank you to Kevin and Lydia, if you both are here, for moderating today's chat session. But yes, today's session is going to be about how to manifest. Thank you, Anton. Hi, Caroline from Ireland. Thank you, Deb. Good morning, Michelle. Oh my goodness, lots of you. Almost 3 p.m. in Northern Ireland. Wow. Yep, it's morning time here. Good morning, Mia. Afternoon in Europe. Yeah, so I guess this is a good time to do them because it's morning in the US. And if you're in Europe, because I have a lot of viewers in Europe, afternoon is good. Hello from France. 7 p.m. in Dubai. That's a good time too. Very good. Jennifer says, greetings from Minnesota. Fun fact, I was born in Minnesota. I don't remember any of it though. We left, my parents moved when I was 1 year old, but I am originally from Minnesota. Tiago, I hope I'm saying your name right, from Lisbon, Portugal. I've been to Lisbon. That's a beautiful city. Magic Mike, thank you for hitting the like button. I appreciate it. Hi, Christy. Hi, Crystal. Lovely. Okay, it's 10 a.m. Well, it's 10 a.m. where I am. You can tell me what time it is where you are, but it's 10 a.m. where I am. So we're going to go ahead and start today's live session. And today's session is all about how to manifest, which is kind of a broad topic. And I wanted to keep it broad so that if you had questions, you could drop them in the chat. Or if you're watching this later on replay, you can put them in the comments and I'd feel free to try and respond to those as I can. But to open up this conversation, I wanted to say something right up front, which is that a lot of people out there have this conception that manifesting means you're manifesting out of thin air and it comes magically. And that is indeed one way that you can manifest, okay? But a lot of times people discredit the idea of manifesting through action and manifesting in a way where you did something and you got an outcome. And so before we really got going into this discussion, I wanted to make a distinction, which is that there's kind of a difference between 3D manifestation and what we might call 5D, five-dimensional manifestation. And that's an important distinction. So a lot of times people don't like to credit their action as being something that's giving them manifestation results. So for instance, If I took the time to blow dry my hair this morning, which I did, okay, I got a certain result. And that was a manifested result. Now, that was a more three-dimensional manifestation rather than a 5D. But what's important to understand about that is that your actions creating results is a form of manifestation, but it has a lot to do with your belief. So if you've picked up on ideas that there's rules about certain things that you must do or that you can do in order to get results, if you follow that specific path, you will get your manifestation. Why? Well, it's not really because the action of the blowing of the hair was that important, but rather that that is the belief, that is the expectation. And it's one that we expect is going to work so well that every time we do it, we get the result. And so a lot of this belief that people have that their actions create results and they have a hard time believing in this idea that things can come easily is simply to understand that when you're manifesting through action, you're working through an old paradigm, a paradigm that you believe in very strongly, that if I do XYZ, I will get XYZ result. But because you have belief, you get what you want on the back end. Now, what a lot of people want to understand is how to manifest through 5D. So, how to manifest magically. And that requires suspending belief so that we can not necessarily have to go and blow dry the hair or do the action, but rather we're open to receiving a different way or an easier way. All right, let's see if we got some questions or anything here. 10 a.m. in Canada. Hello, Kevin. Thank you for moderating today. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Ahmed. The twin flame separation. How's Florida? Florida is good. It's beautiful here. Hi, Susanna. All right. So I've got Nancy here. I tried manifesting the duck. 2 weeks later, the drum, then the unicorn. I did not manifest any of them. Any suggestions? How many of you know what she's talking about? I know what she's talking about. If you've tried the drum or the unicorn, or if you know what she's talking about, go ahead and comment below and let us know that you know what we're talking about here. But I have a manifesting test, and I know that Nancy's asking about that test here. Okay, so if and within that test, what I have you do is I have you focus on an object, okay? And one of the objects could be a drum, all right? And then the idea is that you let that go and then the manifestation comes to you. Now, very frequently people have success with that test, okay? But once in a while people do not. And if you do not have success with that kind of a manifestation. So I was trying to think of something and I thought about it, but it didn't come back to me. Most often, what's going on is that you are looking for the manifestation rather than allowing it to come. So that duck drum experiment is more of a 5D manifestation activity where you think of something and then it shows up rather than you think of something and then you go seek out the drum, you go seek out the duck, you go look for it. Okay. Instead, this is one where you just think about it, but then you literally have to let the idea go and move on about your day and allow for it to come. That's the one hang up people often have is they will do the test and then they're kind of sitting there waiting. Is it here yet? Did I see it? Did I see it today? Is it coming? Okay. And whenever we do that, we start projecting resistance. Okay. Because we're trying to make something happen rather than allowing something to come to us. You will find that when it comes to that 5D manifestation that I was talking about earlier, it is super, super critical for you to have this letting go element. And by letting go, that sounds like something that you need to do, right? But really with letting go, what we're talking about is you have to kind of forget about it. Now, this is what I find time and time again. It's the second I stop thinking about it. It's the second I get lost in another activity. It's the second I get swept into something else that boom, it shows up. Okay. It shows up when you're not looking for it. Okay. And so if people have difficulty with that test, usually it's because they are looking for it. Manjira, angels, ducks, parrots, unicorns, everywhere like crazy. Yeah, when you get on a tear with that one, it can really get going. Susanna says, if you look for the drum, you're chasing it. Exactly. Okay. And that kind of ties into what somebody was saying earlier about the twin flame. Raise your hand if you know what a twin flame is. But they were mentioning the twin flame separation. That's kind of the idea there too, is that there's this runner chaser dynamic. As long as you're chasing after that person, you're introducing resistance and they will run. Thank you, Adriana. Okay, Kat, I don't understand when people say they manifested a vehicle and then go on to say, my monthly payment is only X. In my mind, the only thing they manifested was a car payment. What am I missing? Okay. Well, again, so it is a manifestation because all of reality is a manifestation. Okay, so some things we may go out and purchase, some things may just show up. And so what happens is we're talking about the difference between, were we truly unlimited when we manifested, or were we using a specific set of belief structures that we already had in place? Okay, so if I have the belief, so for instance, if I have the belief structure that a car payment is necessary, okay, then I have to work inside of that paradigm in order to get the car, because the law of attraction is going to always reflect back to you your belief structure. Okay. But if you have a more 5D perspective, the car could come in any way, car could come at any time, then you may have one of those experiences where the car just kind of shows up. Okay. So maybe somebody gifts you the car, or you win it in some kind of raffle, or the thing just shows up in your driveway. That is absolutely possible because the law of attraction will always reflect back your belief. It will always manifest your belief. So the person did manifest the vehicle, and they did also manifest the car payment because they believed in the car payment. Now, from what you're saying there, Kat, the thing they say is the monthly payment is only X. So I think what that person might be communicating to you is that they got the car they wanted for less than they had initially thought they were going to have to pay, which in that case means that they have opened up their belief structure a little bit more. Maybe they thought a car was going to cost them $400 a month, and instead they got it for $300. So that's a way of showing that they may have adjusted their belief. Okay, but manifestation is always a reflection of belief. It can just show up, but it could also mean that there are certain limitations that I'm buying into that have to be required in order for me to get the result that I want. Because again, the law of attraction always reflects your belief. If you don't like the rules, if you don't like the idea of a payment, then you have to correct that as a requirement for manifestation of a car. Tiara, can we change someone abusive that always has reasons to hate me? Okay. He wants to love me. He doesn't want to be that way. I love this person deeply, and my heart can't let go of him. I feel he's my twin flame. Okay. So Tiara, the thing to understand is that we're going to attract what we believe in, okay? Or we are going to attract what we believe we need from a person, okay? Or what we believe that we are worthy of. A lot of times when we attract abusive people, what this means is there is some state of unworthiness within yourself, okay? And I don't mean that you are unworthy, because you're not, but perhaps there's some kind of wound or sadness that you're carrying forward with you, okay? And when that happens, oftentimes we will lower our standards of what we will accept from people. And so we may feel very much like I need to be loved, rather than standing in a different vibrational state of I am loved, or I love myself fully, or I respect myself 1,000%. And this is what I expect from a relationship. Okay. When we have very high standards for what we expect, what we believe that we are worthy of, then what happens is we attract people and behaviors from people that reflect back those beliefs. So it isn't really about changing the other person. It isn't about molding that person and expecting for him to change, okay? It's more about adjusting my expectations of what I'm going to receive inside of a relationship and what I am worthy of. Now, what you can see is that there are two ways that that could work itself out. So if you work your mind into this idea that I am worthy of a top-notch relationship, I am worthy of being loved and respected at the highest level, you could attract an entirely different person into your reality that 100% reflected that. Or I've also seen it where that person that you're already kind of in this relationship with will radically change and alter. But the distinction to understand is that you're not changing him, you're changing yourself and your expectations. That's what has to happen. And so you have to kind of surrender the idea that he needs to change, let him be however he wants to be, but decide that this is what I am worth and this is what I expect and this is what I am going to match up with. And then the outside world will shift and change for you to reflect that, however is best for you. NM Venus. I just did something I don't want to do anymore. I found a buyer for my home and it's with their lawyers now. And now I don't want to sell anymore. What do I do? Don't sell. You don't want to do something, don't do it. Okay. That's an important thing to understand. You may have been guided to go down a path to perhaps sell a house. And at the time, it felt like the right thing to do. But if you start getting feedback that I don't want to do this, stop. That is a vibrational sign that where you are going and headed is not in alignment with where you actually want to be and where your joy is. Now, that doesn't mean that maybe tomorrow you wouldn't change your mind or in a week there may not be a different path. But really, this speaks very highly to the importance of staying in the moment. Try not to map out the future too much. Like, oh, I wanted to sell my home. So I got going down this path, and this is the path that leads to the sale of the house. Maybe this was the path that got you moving in a direction so that you could get to a different buyer or a different negotiation. You have to be very sensitive when the mind and the vibration starts telling you there's something off. You have to immediately have the discipline to say, there's something off about this, and just stop what you're doing and ask yourself instead, what do I want to do now? Maybe I want to put a pin in this discussion. Or maybe I just want to tell this guy I'm not doing this. Okay. Or maybe I want to put the house back on the market. But ask yourself, of the available options, if I just stop what I'm doing here right now, of the available options, which one feels right to me now, and start moving along that path. That's really how you follow the trail to manifestation. You have to stay vibrationally attuned because positive manifestations only happen when you're in a high vibrational state. So if you have that feeling of, I don't want to do this, there's a reason for it. Whatever the action is not in alignment with the manifestation you want. Oh my goodness, so many good questions. Okay, I like this question. I see this question sometimes floating around. Jennifer, my friend won some money at the casino and later said he never expected to win. I was thinking, if we get what we expect, how did this happen? I've heard this question a lot phrased in different ways. So I'm glad that you brought this up. Sometimes I see it with, well, what about those lottery winners that said they never expected to win? Okay. Well, the first thing to understand is that, again, manifestation kind of happens when you forget about things, when you just kind of get lost in the flow. That's when the good things kind of flow in. So if you have kind of this experience where you have, let's say you have two people that go to the casino. Okay. They're both going to the casino. This one over here is like really hell bent. He needs to win. He needs to get his money back. He needs to make his mortgage payment. So, has to work out. And then this guy shows up and he's just having a good time. Okay. Not really thinking too much about winning. Maybe he's lost in the fun of the casino and the pretty girls walking by and the drinks are flowing and he's just having a good time. Okay. This guy's going to line up with positive events whereas this guy is not. Okay. So that's one thing to understand is that when they say they're not expecting to win, part of what they're saying is they're not thinking about winning in that moment. The other thing I would always point out is they say, oh, the lottery winner said he never expected to win. The guy at the casino said he never expected to win. Well, here's the thing to understand about that. If you seriously believed there was no possibility of you winning at all, would you ever buy a lottery ticket or would you ever show up at a casino? No. So there may not be a strong belief that, oh, I'm going to show up at the casino, I'm going to hit the jackpot. But the reason you walk through the door, the reason you put your money on the table is because you believe there was a chance. There was a chance. Maybe you didn't believe it was a good chance, but that was exactly what allowed you to surrender and get swept up into the moment and allow the thing to come. Okay. So I'm so glad you asked that question because I see that question a lot. It has a lot to do with the vibrational state that the person is in. They're kind of playing, they're having fun with it, seeing where it goes. They're not taking it serious. So they're allowing themselves to get into flow, which is precisely why it shows up for them. Oh my goodness, so many questions. Okay, Susanna, I'm ready to manifest my dream house and we can afford it, but my husband is not. He's comfortable as is. How do I deal with his resistance? Such a good question, Susanna. You see this a lot with couples, right? I want to do this, but husband doesn't want to do that. I want to do this, wife doesn't want to do that. Here's the thing. This is the brutal truth. It isn't his resistance. It's yours. And what I mean by that is you have a belief structure that husband needs to agree with you. Okay. Husband needs to agree. I need all the troops to get on board with this decision. And so if we have that belief structure that I need all the troops to get on board, what's going to happen is reality is going to reflect back that sometimes they move along with me and sometimes they don't. So what you really want to work towards is this idea of the only thing that matters. Okay. And this sounds so selfish, but it's true. The only thing that matters is what I think and feel about this. If I think this is a good idea, if I feel called into this, then I know it's the right decision, period. And when you allow that to radiate, the troops will naturally fall in line. Okay. So, when we manifested the house that I currently live in, I had kind of this inkling that, right now we need to go look. And I knew it's kind of like that vibrational thing. When the body, when the vibration, when the flow is calling you, you have to double, triple, quadruple, quintuple down on that because that's the only guidance that you have in the universe. Okay. If you feel called to do something, you have to know there's a reason for it. This is calling me into something. And you have to just go with it without considering everybody else's opinion. See, when you act in that direction, everyone falls in line. So anyway, when we were on the precipice of manifesting the home that we are in now, that was the thing. I had this inkling, like today's the day to go look. It's the day. And I asked my husband, do you want to go look? He's like, yeah, it sounds like a great idea. Now I asked him out of respect, but to be honest with you, had he said no, I would have just gotten my car and gone because it was calling me. Okay. So what I want you to do is to dial more into trusting your intuition without considering what other people think about it. Other people have nothing to do with that internal guidance. If they're pushing back, but your guidance is telling you go, that means that you're considering outside of yourself more than you should. Okay. Juliana, how do you change an insecurity you have? For example, I have a big nose and I hate it a lot. This is a great question. When it comes to a lot of times you hear about this with appearance, okay, but you could really use this in all different aspects of manifestation. If there's something that you perceive as being a problem, it's really about coming to make peace with it and coming to a place where you appreciate it, which is completely diametrically opposed to what you think about it right now. So right now the thought is the nose is too big. I hate the nose. Okay. But what you want to start doing is starting to find a way to kind of neutralize that by looking at what you have as how is it benefiting you? How has having a bigger nose benefited you? And right now it may not seem that there's a lot to work with, but you could start reaching for some things. Okay. So, maybe it's taught me to accept my appearance more as it is. Maybe it's taught me to um, be kinder to people who do not have aesthetically perfect bodies. Okay. Start to reach for things that has given you. And what ends up happening is you start loving that aspect of yourself more to the point where it does not bother you and you become receptive to whatever's going to happen with the nose that makes it good for you. Okay. So, one of the stories I like to tell when it has to do with this kind of way of loving something until it fixes itself has to do with chronic back pain, which isn't a physical appearance thing, but it was something I hated. I had really bad chronic back pain. I wouldn't have been able to sit upright like this for more than about 10 or 15 minutes. I could barely walk. This went on for about 6 months. I was told by the chiropractor I was going to need surgery. And I didn't like that idea. So I just walked out of the office and decided that I was just going to have to find a way to make peace with the pain. And that was the first thing we started doing was, how is this benefiting me? How is this helping me? What is this teaching me? One of the things that it had taught me was whenever I would drive to the grocery store when I was younger, there would always be like little older ladies or gentlemen that would be walking in front of the car and they would be going so slowly. And I would get so annoyed with them because they weren't moving fast enough for my liking because, the queen is coming through, right? And having that back pain and all of a sudden I couldn't move that fast, it made me so much more sympathetic to people that had pain conditions. Okay. And so that's what I'm talking about is find a way to reach for what has your nose taught you? How is it benefiting you? Doing that with my back, I honestly believe is a very large portion of the reason why I no longer have any kind of back pain at all. Okay. So that's the big thing is you got to find a way to make peace with what you have so you're not projecting resistance about it and then you will manifest a good outcome with it. Whether the nose just starts to change on its own or there's something else that happens or maybe you just decide all of a sudden your nose becomes in. Maybe it's the thing that the world changes around the nose and suddenly big noses are the things to have. Any of that could happen. Okay? What do I think about Neville, the Aurora? I've listened to some Neville. I haven't gotten super into Neville Goddard to believe it or not. I'm not saying I don't agree, but I feel like some teachers they speak to where you're at certain times, and he's one I've kind of picked up a few times, but hasn't grabbed me yet. But I will say this: they all kind of come in at the right time. Okay. Oh, we're having such a good discussion. Oh, I do want to mention I put this in the email. If you got the email from me, the Manifesting Mastery program is open right now. It's closing on Thursday. If you had questions about that, by all means, go ahead and drop those into the chat. That course, again, it's only open through Thursday, and I only open it up 3 times a year. So if you haven't taken that course yet, if you have any questions on it, now is a good time to ask them. I will go ahead and drop a link about that in the chat if you want to learn more about that course. It is a step-by-step manifesting program. All right. Do we have any other questions? We have lots of questions. Oh my goodness. What? Okay, Natasha, I just met a new guy. He's a great person, but my instinct is telling me that he's not right for me. Should I follow my instincts and let him know, or just put trust in the universe and see where it goes? Trust your instincts, Natasha. Now, again, the important thing to understand this is that your instincts are coming at you in real time. So what I would not say is that write this guy off today, like forget him, I'm done. But rather, in the moment, how do I feel? So if the guy I'm talking to were to call me up and say, "Hey, I'd like to go out for it with take you on a date on Saturday," and I wasn't feeling it and my instincts were saying no, I would say no. Okay. But I wouldn't just write him off like perhaps this wouldn't work later because your instincts are always guiding you in real time. So maybe not now, maybe later. I don't know. Now, you got to stay in the zone with that. So follow your instincts, but follow them in real time. If something makes you uncomfortable, say no. If you really feel like you need some space, then say no. But don't hang in there hoping that your instincts are going to change, because what will end up happening is they will just get louder and louder and louder, and they will start screaming at you. You know, say hi and let me know if you've had that experience where you ignored your instincts and things just got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and started screaming at you. Do yourself a favor. Don't go down that path. Listen to your instincts immediately. Pay very close attention to them. Thank you, Adriana. Ooh, can you override what the universe wants? Well, you are the universe having the you experience. So can you override yourself? Give yourself more credit. Okay. Do you have to change your personality to raise your vibration? David, oh, that's a good question. If we look at personality as a collection of habits, then perhaps yes. There may be some habits that were built upon limited ideas. There may be some habits that you have that are keeping you entrenched in a lower vibration. But what you will see, and I know this personally because, as you may or may not know, I used to be a drug addict. I was a chain smoker. I had addictions and eating disorders. I was the hot mess express. Okay. So I've cleaned up a lot of those kind of personality habits. And there's a lot of things about my personality that are perhaps different, but they were all superficial things. So one of the things that I found is that you may change certain things like how you walk, how you talk, the kind of language that you use, the kind of music that you're listening to, how extroverted or introverted you are. Those things may shift and change a little bit, but who you are, it becomes a truer expression of who you are. So it's not really about changing your personality. It's more about acting in alignment with what your personality actually is, rather than covering it up with habits that represent old insecurities. I hope that makes sense. Oh, Roxanne. I like that question. Hi, Andrea. Are there any alternative words I could use instead of the law of attraction when I'm talking about it? Because people tend to write it off as scammy or new age mumbo jumbo. Oh, wow. I like that question a lot. Yeah, it can be kind of weird when you're talking to, I don't know, when you're talking to the muggles. And oh, it's not science. This isn't science. I didn't learn this in school, and so you must be crazy and this, that, and the next thing. I really identify with that. And when I started learning about the law of attraction, I really struggled with communicating with people about it the the way that it is, because of that. What I will tell you is that when I was doing that, that was more of a fear of me being accepted by people, and needing them to understand me, rather than this is what it is and just speaking it cleanly and clearly and letting them think it's scammy or new agey if they want. That's their business, but it's my truth. And in fact, that's why I run the YouTube channel. That's why I'm doing this live. That's why I do the business that I do, is really because I wanted to get to a place of being comfortable expressing my truth, that I knew that this is the way it is. I know that this is the way it works, and I'm unwilling to cover that or pretend it's something different. And so I understand where you're coming from, because honestly, I really tried to do the same. But what I have figured out is that if you just kind of give it to them straight, whether or not they like it or not, who cares? They'll listen to you more and take you more seriously. So really the key thing is getting out of your own head about that. And I totally, again, I totally get that one 100%. Shaswati. Hi, Andrea. I've been following you for more than 2.5 years now. I've been working and I'm a certified project manager and very successful in my life. Thank you so much for watching and congratulations to your success. What do I think about subliminals? Robinska? I don't know if I'm butchering your name. I apologize if I am. I think subliminals can be very helpful. I really do. In fact, for me, I do a lot of work with that. I like to listen to a lot of subliminal kind of programming. Honestly, it's really kind of up to you, but I take every opportunity that I can to reprogram my subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind is kind of what's going on autopilot. And a lot of times there's just junk programming that's running on autopilot. And you may find this like you're just kind of wandering through your day and you start thinking negatively about something or some stray form of anxiety comes through and you don't even know where it's coming from. Well, really, it's just harbored in your subconscious. So any opportunity you can take, I'm all for it. Oh, and I was gonna wrap this conversation up at 10:30, but I'm having a lot of fun, so we're gonna keep going. I think I'm gonna go till about 10:45. So still gonna answer some more questions here. You are welcome, Laura. Ciara, what do we do if we love someone that doesn't reciprocate our deep feelings for them? Don't worry about them reciprocating it. That's the big trick when it comes to love and relationships, whether it's romantic love or friendship love. You're going to get the best result if you just focus on, I just want to love you as you are, not, I want to love you so you love me back, not, I did this for you. Or are you going to do something back for me? More just unconditional appreciation and love for the person. And that's it with zero strings attached. Okay. And this is a place people often go wrong inside of relationships, whether love, again, or friendship, platonic, even familial relationships, is this idea that I love you, but don't you love me back? I love you, but don't you love me back? And so the focus is on, I need you to love me back, which means I don't believe that you do. So you can eradicate all of that if you really just navigate through your life, finding reasons to appreciate and love other people without needing them to do anything. So that's the big trick. That's the big secret. In fact, that's some of the best relationship advice I can give you right now is to just start practicing that when you're navigating throughout the world, even people you don't find romantically interesting. Okay. Find reasons to appreciate people. And that's it. That's the game 100%. Well, I like her hair. I like his eyes. He's got a nice smile. She's really friendly. She's nice with the kids. He's really kind to his dog. And just find something to focus on that you appreciate and like about that person. And that's it. And then drop it and leave it. And what you're going to find is that your message that you're projecting on people is a lot cleaner. I like you. I love you, period. No strings attached. And that allows that person to reflect it back. Okay. So try to get over the idea entirely that they need to reciprocate because that's what's causing the holdup entirely. Okay. Oh my goodness. So many questions. Kenneth, I experienced all those common signs that manifestation is close, but still no manifestation yet. What could go wrong? Looking for it. Looking for it. You can get swept up in the tide. Okay. So you can get in this state where things are clicking, things are going good. And then you start getting excited and you're like, where is it? Where is it? Is it here? Is it here? And in that moment, you start projecting, it's not here. It's not here. It's not here. So the real trick is put the manifestation aside. Okay. The gold standard with manifesting is the vibrational state. It's the state. So instead of I'm in the zone, so therefore the manifestation has to come, honor the zone. I'm in the zone right now. Look at me go. I'm clipping through. Things are speeding up. I don't know what's coming next, but I'm in the zone. I'm in the zone and realize that you have the gold standard, which is the vibrational state that will allow you to stay in it and attract more of what you want. The minute you start looking at being in the zone and then, oh, well, wait a minute. Did the money come? Did he call? You slow the flow. Okay. So you got to stay in that vibrational state. Resist that temptation to go take stock of where you are. That will keep you in the state longer and allow more things to flow through to you. Can you manifest your perfect body without having to work out? Anything is possible. Anything is possible. You can manifest anything that you want. The question is that what you want? Okay. So me, I work out. I get great results. I probably get, I know I get way higher results than most people get in the gym. Um, but I like working out. So you got to understand, but what are you trying to accomplish with your body? Do you want your body to do things? Do you want your body to be strong? So it kind of depends on what your perspective of a perfect body is. Okay. So I've heard of plenty of instances where people grew a body part or just lean down really naturally. It kind of depends on what it is that you're reaching for and why you want it. And then again, the difference between the 3D and the 5D manifestation. Do I believe I need to do these things over here to get the result? If I believe I need to do these things over here to get the result, then you're going to have to until you adjust that belief structure. But if you believe things can just happen, they will. Sorry, I'm trying to talk and read through all these at the same time. What advice can you okay, Lane, what advice can you give me that I have every intention to be consistent and disciplined about my manifestation practices, but I don't do it? Like I sabotage myself. Oh, okay. Every intention to be consistent and disciplined. Okay. No. Relax. Okay. Make it your intention to become freer, more relaxed. Allow things to work for you. It sounds to me that there's a belief structure that I got to work hard for things. I got to prove myself. I got to put my nose to the grindstone. Okay. That 100% is means that we believe fully in 3D manifestation. I want you to open up more to the 5D manifestation concept where things can flow more easily and they can come in unexpected ways. But in order to do that, you have to eradicate the idea that you need to do things certain ways. And that includes your manifestation processes. There's no need to sit there and journal yourself to death or make 1,000 vision boards or recite XYZ. All of those practices are great, but the purpose of the practices is to get you in the zone. And the zone is feeling good, feeling free, feeling expectant, enjoying life. If the practices aren't doing that, you don't do them. And sometimes you're going to get feedback like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Well, do yourself a favor and don't do it. And instead ask yourself, what would I rather be doing? What would I rather be doing? Allow yourself to do what you want to do. And the life that you want will reflect back because you're being who you want to be. So the universe is going to reflect back to you the life that you want. Try not to pigeonhole yourself into the idea that I got to act a certain way, be a certain way, get there a certain time. Any of that is going to muck up the energy for you. Natasha, I'm loving the lives. How often will you be doing this? I'm not, well, to kind of piggyback on what I just said, I'm not entirely sure because I spend a lot of time creating time, freeing my time. So there's very few things that I do that are scheduled. But in my mind's eye, I like the idea of perhaps doing this once or twice a month. But we'll see. I'm glad that you're enjoying them. Oh, Christy. Ding ding. Yes, you can. I do not work out and I look amazing. Good for you, Christy. Ah, and Kita, how my salary will increase. How to increase your salary? Ooh, that's a good question. You have to adjust your belief about how much money is gonna come to you. Sometimes that's easier done incrementally, but we have to find a way to step into a wider expectation of financial abundance. You find that very often with salaries that people will get stuck on the same salary for year after year after year. And they may lose their job, but they'll find another job that pays them almost exactly as much as they made in the last one. And so the amount of money that you're making is very strongly predicated on what you believe, what kind of person you are. So you may, I'll talk about this in terms of US dollars, but you may think of yourself as a $50,000 a year person or $100,000 a year person or a $500,000 a year person. And you've kind of made up your mind that that's the kind of person you are. Well, if you want to change your income, you have to look at yourself as a different kind of person. So if you consider yourself, if you are making say 50,000 a year and that's what you make, and you'd rather be making $100,000 a year, you have to start looking at yourself as a $100,000 a year person. So one exercise I might recommend doing is think about who is that person? How does that person act? How does that person dress? What kind of things does that person do? What kind of activities that is that person into? And I'm not saying do things that are disingenuous or that don't sound like fun to you. But what I am saying is step into the version of yourself that makes that much money. So, a really great exercise is just to envision yourself making that much money and then really go through in detail. How does he or she act? How does he or she dress? How is his or her hair styled? How, what kinds of people is she hanging around? And emulate that life as much as possible. And that will bring you more into resonance with the kind of salary that you want. And really, that's what I've been doing this whole time. And I've watched my income go up year after year. So it's good advice. Hi, Marcus. It's Marcus. Hi, Marcus. Ada, I'm a student and I want to get a high score. Okay. Should I study the law of attraction or do I have to work and study hard? Okay. So, with that, I think, again, one thing that's really helpful is to understand that sometimes we have beliefs. Okay. If you have a belief that there's a certain amount of studying that needs to be done, then you're going to need to do that studying. Okay. Now, I'm mentioning this, you can change that belief. But let's say the exam is coming up in 2 weeks. I wouldn't waste any time right now trying to shift my beliefs of how much studying I need to do, because that's going to require you to reprogram yourself. If you don't have time to reprogram yourself and you need a specific result within a time frame, you're going to want to work inside of your belief structure. So I would sit back and think about, how much study time do I feel I need to do? And then you're going to have to work within that belief structure in order to get the result, because you literally don't have the ability right now to change your belief structure. If you don't like the idea of having to study a lot, you are also going to want to reprogram yourself so you don't have to as much. But please understand that reprogramming the mind does take a little bit of time. It's hard to go from this idea that I need to study 50 hours for an exam to I get A's without studying. Okay. That may be a big swing. So you want to give yourself some time to ease into that new idea so you don't have to study as much. But in the short term, you want to follow your belief structures, because the law of attraction is going to reflect back what you believe. If you don't believe that you can just get an A without studying and you don't study, you're not going to get an A. Okay. But again, if you plan on being in school for an extended period of time, I would start adjusting the belief structure that studying is required or that much studying is required, and try to start adopting the idea that information comes to me easily. I recall lots of things. I remember things easily, and come up with some ideas like that that would help you in an exam type environment. Once you've identified what those things are, you want to start picking up cues in your environment that they're true. So let's say, for example, one of the ideas that you want to adopt is I remember lots of things easily. Okay. I don't have to study. I remember things very easily. Well, every time you remember something, remind yourself, oh, yeah, of course I remembered that. I remember things easily. Of course I remembered that. I remember things easily. And that will reinforce in your mind, your subconscious mind, that you are somebody who remembers lots of information very easily. Therefore, you do not need to study that much. Just understand that process does take some repetition. So if you're up against a time wall, work within your belief structures as they stand right now. All right, I'm going to answer. Let's see. I'm coming up. Yeah, I was going to close down. I think I'm going to answer another question real quick. Just a reminder again, my manifesting mastery course is still available. I'm going to throw another link in here. It does close on the 4th, which is on Thursday. And it is a limited enrollment. They only come through once every 4 months. So if you're interested in that, make sure to check it out. And let's see, what else do we have here? Will I upload this to my channel after the stream? That's my plan. This is only my second one, so let's see if I remember to do it properly, but that's the plan. Let's see. Okay. How, Trisha, I want to know how to stop doubting yourself. How to stop doubting yourself. One of the best things, such a great question. One of the best things I found for that is it's very helpful. It does kind of sound like it flies in the face of conventional law of attraction advice, but it's to face your fears, face them. Okay. And what I mean by that is oftentimes when people are afraid, they hold back or they prevent themselves from moving forward. And what ends up happening in that way is that we're allowing fear to control our lives and we're allowing doubt to compound itself. Reality is simply a projection of your consciousness. And so if you run away from something that you're fearful because you have doubt, because you don't believe in yourself, you reinforce that programming within yourself. But instead, if you are fearful of something, if you just walk right up to it and deal with it right away without hesitation and make that kind of like a default habit, that's kind of the trick. Make it a habit. What you're going to start to realize is that you can really mold and shape reality very quickly, which gives you a lot more confidence in yourself. So let me try and explain this a little bit more clearly. One of the habits that I've started to adopt over the years that's made such a big difference in my ability to kind of attack life and just kind of shift it where I want rather than holding back and being doubtful is the second I get that feeling of, oh, I can't do that. Oh, that looks kind of hard. I'll immediately go and do it, or I'll get started on it. Now, if I get started on it and I can tell I don't really want to be doing this, it's not that I'm afraid of it, but I'm just not interested, then I'll move on. But what I found is like if I just face the fear evaporates very quickly. But if I hold on to it and don't move forward, that fear starts to build momentum and compounds. Okay. So one of the best things for self-doubt is the second, you're afraid to call the guy, just pick it up and call him. Okay. You're afraid to ask the question, just throw your hand up and you'll figure it out when you get there. It's the waiting of the doing that compounds the fear and the doubt. But if you act immediately, you prevent the doubt from building momentum and getting worse. And from you attending to that, which creates it as being a more dominant part of how you feel about yourself. So it may sound kind of scary to just immediately attack your fears, but it actually cuts way down on the fear time and it really enhances your confidence. Okay. All right, guys, I have gone over today, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining this live session. I have really enjoyed chatting with all of you. Like I said, I am going to try and do some more of these. If you are enjoying them, please just let me know in the chat, or if you're watching this after the fact, again, I'm going to try to put this back on YouTube. So if you're watching this after the fact and you have got questions that weren't answered, or there's something else you want to know, feel free to drop it below in the comments. And again, last little message here that again, my manifesting mastery course is open. It's been open this week, but it is closing on Thursday. So if you have any questions about that course, feel free to drop them in the comments and I would be happy to answer those. I'm going to go through and check those out after the fact. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.